What's going on, guys? Matt Manduke here, and what you're looking at right now is the inside of the Durham Museum in Omaha, Nebraska, and it is inside of an unoperational train station, and the wooden characters, some of them actually speak, and that's what I approached this guy, and I'm like, do you speak, or you just looking at the stuff? Because I walked by some and they started talking, but I didn't turn around because I was kind of excited to see what else was in this place, and this place is pretty miraculous, actually, as you're about to see.
Brief history of Omaha and everything that Omaha has to offer. The Durham Museum, and this is actually built inside of a train station, which, like I told the teller, it resembles Grand Central Station, but without all the people, which it's still pretty cool. Now that is that wood coal stove. Hello. Well, they don't let me go in the engine, but you can at least look. And that's pretty cool. I imagine my brother-in-law would get a kick out of this, as he runs a steam engine when it stays off. That's what the grill in my truck is trying to emulate. And you get what they would put. Imagine how slow this car would have to go to not need to strap those down. High-tech shit. I think I hit the button to make the drive-in work. There are still working drive-ins in this country. They are running. It's amazing. On the lights for the city. I'm not at all reading the history here. I'm kind of just looking at the stuff. I don't know what that did. Rail Santa Fe. hardly ever see any of them anymore. Just gonna light up the junction station. Sort of.
Alright, so what you're looking at here, I'm walking through the cars on the train, and after I get to the other end, the guy that was in the train car that I said, hey, there's a guy, he ended up talking to me. He's a volunteer there, and he was telling me about the train and explaining to me how the sleeper berths worked and how people would take a 9-hour train ride and they'd have dinner on the train, which you're about to see where they would have dinner, and then they would go to sleep and wake up and be at their destination. So I walked through the entirety of this. So I walked through the entirety of the train that I have access to, and as you can see, that picture shows, well, that was the dining area for the not filthy rich people.
Wise men say, if you don't want me to open it, don't make it possible. And most things are not possible. You don't want me to be able to get in there either. But wow, you could do that on a train. That's pretty amazing, and you'd have to be filthy rich.
As you look around here, you can really see that it was very luxurious.
There's nothing in there. No wonder why they let me in. And another museum in another place that would be a good place to play.
And he said that it was for like business people for the most part, which is understandable. And for what I gather, it and what he said was like airplanes kind of put them out of business because you can fly quicker than you can take a train, and well, that makes sense. But he said that this car that we're looking at now was restored within the last couple years, and it was originally built in the 1950s, and it definitely has that kind of style to it. But he said that it was the original coverings on a lot of things. They just cleaned them, and I thought that was fairly miraculous. It has very many similarities to the submarine in the way that it's built, because it's a lot of metal in places where they would use plastic nowadays, and I think it's crappy that we use plastic in a lot of these places now. But I also noticed that these sleeper berths aren't much different than the sleeper berth that I'm sitting in right now while I'm editing this video. And no, my vocals in these videos are kind of low, and that's because, well, I'm kind of shy when it comes down to it when I'm in public places, and I don't have to be, but I am.
And then after you get out of the rail cars, you get into the museum exhibit, which actually explains the history of Omaha. It's older than that. Started and didn't record and take pictures because it wasn't very exciting. But I don't ever expect museums to be exciting. However, on the next episode, it's going to be the Joslyn Art Museum, which is where I'm headed from here. And no, I'm not going to read all these things to you. Hospital. All kinds of bottles are in the backyard. There's the Donner Party's car. No, I don't know that. No, it was the Donner Party. But I hope so. That's why it's Donner's Pass. Because that's when the cannibalism started. Ooh. That's fancy. And they have this that explains like the industrial park of the 1930s, which is probably what attributed to the majority of the expansion of this town.
Alright, and then they have this exhibit that is all about voting and pushing for the things that you want out of our society. And a lot of this museum had to do with inclusion. So I walk into this voting thing and I'm seeing a lot of things that really push the Democrat side of things. And it's interesting because I'm standing in a red state where the museum that attracts a lot of local class trips and whatnot is then pushing for more Democrat type stuff. And I kind of think it's pathetic because I personally am from a Democrat state and there's more industry in Nebraska than there is in New Jersey, even though there's more people in New Jersey than there is in Nebraska. And so the fact that this entire exhibit is trying to push, and no, they're not doing it directly, but I only saw one thing that said Trump Pence, and I must have saw 20 different things that said Obama Biden. And throughout all the things they show a lot more Democrat stuff than they do Republican stuff, and it's not like there's any more Democrat stuff than there is Republican stuff. Like there wasn't a single Make America Great Again hat, even though there's an exhibit in the museum that shows how much industry they used to have in Omaha that they don't have anymore. And the idea is you're supposed to want more industry because that employs more people, and employing more people then gives the city more money, gives the state more money, and promotes the entire economy of the entire country. And there's so much stuff. There's another Obama thing there. And there's so much stuff that should be shown that isn't, and should be taught that isn't. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this and you want to see my other trips and travels, you can check out those videos there. Otherwise, if you want to see my drone flights, you can check out those videos there. As always, guys, I want to thank you for watching. I wouldn't do this without you. I'll see you, my friends, later.